Real quick, on behalf of the fair and the fair board, thank you for the donation to the, I'll pass it along next Tuesday's meeting. We're doing a few new things at the fair this year. We're trying to get some more community groups, civic organizations, and other groups to have a display or a table at the fair. Trying to build more community for those who miss the meeting or miss meetings like this or meetings in their community or stuff in the newspaper. We want to have information there that maybe people just come to the fair for the truck pulls and that kind of stuff, and that's their thing. Well, we have more booths set up and more space available for free for community organizations to put out things maybe like the 4-H farm program and those sorts of things. So any kind of group that's interested in bringing information to the fair or to the at the end of the month or to the fair board, we meet on Tuesdays. That would be appreciated. We're also doing some new contests for the Kids Day. We're doing some watermelon seed spitting contest and I think a little torte pie eating contest. And then on Saturday for the adults, we're going to do a hot dog eating contest for and also another large pie eating contest. So small prizes, just some fun stuff. Not trying to encourage obesity or anything, but just some
stop at the watermelon.
just some fun activities.
Oh yeah.
Cool Whip, and we'll try to keep it healthy.
Use it like it. All right. Appreciate it. Anyone else?
I know Lisa had something.
You got double duty. Hearing nothing else, going down to the commissioner's concerns.
Well, really the only thing, I have two things I want to say. I did attend the auditors meeting out at Chester. Judy attended the whole thing, so I'll defer to her to go over anything she felt was important at that time. I also, on the way here, I did have I don't have it with me now, but I have talked with some of the governor's people about, and I got an application for a cell tower grant, which I was going to bring before the commission. I just haven't been able to find it here since I've been sitting here, but I will get it to you guys as soon as I find it. And I think we may have filled these things out before, I'm not sure, but it goes to the PSC requesting the money for the grant and things of that nature. And I thought, well, you know, if it wouldn't hurt to do it again, especially looking at it maybe from a different, where we might place the tower and things like that. So, but there are grant monies available for it. So I think you know, if we haven't already done this before, and maybe the timing's a lot better now and things of that nature, you never know. But I think that if we could get this submitted, that it would be looked upon favorably as far as getting the grant for cell towers, what I was talking about.
At Horace?
Well, that's the whole thing. We don't have any. The application would have to spell out where it would be and things of that nature. So I didn't make, when I talked with people, didn't have any particular area. What I told them was we need to start getting more cell towers here, and this is a method of getting grants for that.
Isn't there a tower already out there?
Yeah, there is, and they know about that too. I've already talked with them about that, and we've discussed this several times because we can't get carriers to put to rent spaces on the tower. We won't put spaces on things on the tower because they say they don't have. It's not economically feasible for them to do that. That they don't have people. And my response to that is, everybody up there's got cell phones, but they're evidently registered where they got cell service or whatever, so that they don't show up as being in those areas and things
Well,
like
so
that.
we don't have a store in this area. Wow, you have to buy them from one in Charleston.
Exactly. Well, and the reason, you know, the first thing we get the service from one of the providers or more than one of the providers, which what I hope to do is to, I had mentioned this several months ago and really kind of just got around to where I thought we could do something about it. But in applying for this, I think we go at it two ways, maybe submit 2 different sites that we might want, and I don't think that would be a problem, but as far as they may pick one over the other to fund, it's just a thought I had about it. But I do think there are people, I feel anyway, with my conversations with the people I've had at the governor's office, things that this might be a doable thing now. So, but it may not. But I think we have to obligate ourselves to try. I mean, if it's money's there that we can bring into this county that may eventually get cell service across the county. And especially the thing I'm pushing is a safety issue. You know, you wreck on Route 10 in some places, you're going to lay there until the next morning. And you know, I think we need to, and part of this grant process is to identify those areas that would require that for safety reasons and things of that nature.
Well, and with everybody that rides four-wheelers and stuff too, and would it be beneficial to do a traffic counter, you know, like you see on the road sometimes? Because I've heard that they don't think there's enough traffic in the area to sustain cell service. But you don't have cell service from Big Creek to the Fall Creek curve. That's a big giant area.
I think we talked before about identifying dead areas and where they need to be at, and I think this is the first step in the process of trying to get monies we haven't got before for cell towers.
Absolutely.
And so I'm hoping that this would help us, because what we do, if we can get monies like this, then I think there would be some, I know I've talked with our senators and things of that nature, and I think they would really like to see this happen, and I think they really would like to help us in the endeavor. And I think, like I say, a lot of things, as we all know, is a matter of timing, and I do think there's everybody I've talked to knows we got this problem here.
Yes.
And so, but if everybody would decide, okay, we're going to solve this problem, then it would get solved. If, you know, one way or the other, it would get solved, whether that be, you know, pressure from the government to these carriers saying you've got to do this in Lincoln County for safety reasons, which is the route I'm trying to go. I think it's maybe a workable thing, but I just wanted to bring that before the commission. Like I said, as I find the application, I'll get it to you, Charles, and we can look at it and see what we can do about it.
I had a brief meeting with AT&T on Tuesday about this same situation, and the guy explained to me, not only do we need the tower, but we also need the fiber. The tower goes to the fiber optic line, and it also transmitted from landline, not tower to tower to tower. It goes from tower to fiber optic line, so they need the fiber optics from Frontier, and then the power from Appalachian Power. So it's got to be a three-part system that goes in. So I was informed. I didn't know all that detail about that. So that's some of the problems they have. But there's no excuse why we can't have it out.
Well, you know, in my response, I've also heard that. My response to them was, well, you got it everywhere else.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why is Lincoln County different?
Exactly.
You know, if of course I know they want the main route, you know, the corridors and the interstates and things like that. But you get right down to it, we're always last on the list on these things.
Yes.
I agree.
And somewhere along the line, you know, Dave Miller's life's worth whatever somebody's life is in Charleston. You know what I'm saying? Somewhere along the line we got to say, well, this other stuff's got to go out, just because we're not affecting.
We got to push Frontier and not just AT&T and Verizon, but also Frontier and the power companies as well.
I think what we need is a concerted effort among all of us to do the same thing. And I think once we do that and say, we're not going to sit here in Lincoln County and not have safety net as far as, you know, we saw a lot of this, I mean, and Alan will talk to you like that. He would like everybody to have a landline, of course, and I think I can understand why. But the reality of it is we don't. A lot of them don't. And the reality of it is if you have an accident, so just like with Hatfield McCoy coming in over here, having sat on their law enforcement safety board, I know we like to have cell coverage to where if we come upon something or have a problem, that we can actually contact somebody. And that people on the trails, if they have trouble or have an accident, they can contact the authorities that we can get there and handle those situations quickly. Same thing when I worked at Logan ER and we had the first Hatfield McCoy rendezvous up there or whatever. We spent time sending people out in helicopters a lot. But we did anticipate that ahead of time. And we don't have that problem with Hatfield McCoy now because we've got a better idea, or they have a better idea as far as what's safe and not on systems and how you monitor those things. And you know, we found the same thing. It was speed and alcohol was the two main problems on anything, just like it is on the road and things. So, but I do think we have to. This thing always gets kind of thrown into the swamp when we bring it up. And I think it's time for people going to have to say why they're not. And they're going to have to tell us and tell me why somebody's life's more important somewhere else. Because that's what we're getting down to. You know, it's much the same that, I'll dive verge a little bit, with that EP when they were here the other day saying it was so expensive to put these lines in the ground. You know, after further research, I found that it's cheapest to put those lines in the ground in rural areas.
Yes, it is.
It doesn't cost a great deal more than what it does to put the infrastructure up here. And if you look at the target areas of these storms, I mean, the way these storms have been affected, and then again, we get the last, because we're the least, we get the last one as far as being served. But these places, these storms are knocking out these power lines that are to us people that would have to wait 2 weeks to get electric back like we did the other time. those are the easiest places to take care of. And those are where your trees are at, or in the rural areas. You know, so there's not, I would, having looked into this a little further, I think that argument doesn't stand. If we see the rural areas continuing to be bombarded by these storms and their infrastructure taken out up in the air, then somewhere along the line, it's much cheaper to go ahead and put it underground and not have to deal with it in the future. In fact, I've read studies that show in states that have it underground, they have, I mean, there's countries that have all their infrastructure underground like that. They have less than an hour a year power outages. And you imagine how much, and we're not talking about what it costs AEP or the people paying those things. We're talking about the amount, we're looking at food being, I mean, we had people lost their food 3 different times. You know, and they can only afford 1 time of food. So they're kind of, time they get the second one, they're on their last bit of money, then they got to get the third. We're talking about people eating and drinking. And so I really think this is something, as we look at these, what we're going to do with the infrastructure as far as tower lines and things, I mean, as far as these cell towers and things, is, you know, we need to keep an assessment of what these storms are doing and what's the best way to handle them. I mean, because as we all know, because we're a rural area, we're the last served, we're the less numbers, and I can understand that because you're helping greater numbers of people. But that doesn't mean our number, just because we don't have the numbers, don't mean we don't have the people. And when people have trouble, just like with this high temperature, and you know, I had people that stayed in the hospital because we couldn't discharge them, because they didn't have electric at home for their oxygen and things like that. You know, and those type of things are very, very serious things to deal with. And as little as it affects us, it affects these people tremendously. Their whole families have to move out and try to figure out what to do and things like that. So somewhere along the line, I think we need to keep talking with AEP about what do you do in these rural areas if you're going to continue to have these storms and things like that. Because you're going to eventually come down to, you know, we're all going to pay for the damages that occurred. You know, we're going to eventually have to pay for that anyway. Are we going to continue to pay for that every time we have a major storm? Or are we going to solve the problem, put it underground? You know, much like the problem with our wastewater system up there. It may not be the end thing we need, but I think that this can be done, not by saying it's too expensive to put it underground, because those expenses have to be weighed against what we have to deal with. And I think, and the way I look at it is, if they want to put ours underground, fine, then they can respond first to the big cities and everything like that, because they won't have to worry about us, because we'll be taken care of. So, but anyway, it's just some thoughts. I wanted to bring that out, that the information I'm seeing as far as rural installation of underground lines is the cheapest way to go in the long run. That's all I have.
Okay. Anything else, Michael, on your part?
Just what Commissioner Vance had already said, people had asked about the cell phone tower up there and stuff of that nature. And I spoke to Debbie Dingus. Of course, we can maybe put this at a later time on the agenda at a later point, but they are wanting to, I guess, maybe get a new sign for the new school up there. I think she checked on one that was like $10,000, and they have some, and I just spoke briefly to her, and that's why I said we can put this at a later time, but other than that, that's all I
I might get her to put it in writing, send us a letter or something.
Okay.
If she wants. Okay. I think this one meeting's all I attended. I did not get to go to Chester, planned to. But, I don't know if it was age caught up with me or just a virus, but I got up sick that morning. But, I did have the opportunity to attend our last Traveler Transit meeting. All is well out there. They're still growing. We do have an important meeting next week coming up, next Tuesday, for the EMS. And basically, we're going to spend a day looking at how we conduct business at EMS and what do we need to change, and look at the whole thing. So we haven't done it for 10 years, and so we aimed to do it about a month ago, and Trish's dad got ill, but we have it set for this coming Tuesday. So if anybody that has any ideas of what they want us to discuss as far as change, improvements, whatever, I certainly would entertain those, and get those to me before next Tuesday, and I'll bring those up for discussion.